This is Rob.
This is Brian.
This is Eric.
Oh, we had, off the topic really fast. When we were doing Hatchet 2, we were shooting on a sound stage, and the one of the crew members was getting really sick to the point where he was laying down between the equipment in between takes because he was just that sick. And the thing is like, go home, go recover and stuff. He's like, no, I can't afford to. I need to be here. I need this job and everything.
Oh boy.
And he had H1N1. You remember the swine flu?
Oh, okay.
And ultimately got more than half of the crew and actors sick
from hanging around.
And we're like, dude, you should just go home. No, I need my paycheck. I need the paycheck. So sometimes, a mask might help at that point in time, maybe. But
or do the Hong Kong thing and be respectful to the people around you.
But yeah, I mean, like the mask thing in Hong Kong was like, it's normal culture out there.
Yeah.
It's been like that for a very long time. I mean, because you look at Hong Kong and the amount of people that live there, they're kind of packed into each other there, and so they're sharing a lot of tighter spaces than we are here. We're a lot more spread out and everything, so we can you can do the whole thing where you're 10 feet apart or whatever and not be a problem. In Hong Kong, no, you're like 10 inches apart at best.
Yeah, and and your living dwellings are above the grocery stores. And I remember when we say grocery stores, it's not really like we have here,
like the little bodega looking things.
Yeah, little shops, but they all had live chickens in the freaking cages out in front.
Yeah, no, they had chickens with their heads poking out of it and stuff. I'm like, even the office that the production office was in, underneath was like a big butcher shop,
right?
That had like
live piglets. And
they had piglets, and they had. I remember a wall of cages that stood. It was at least like 12 feet tall of cages, and they're all lined with chickens looking around.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wait, this is like this is crazy. The movie makers are up here.
Yeah, that's right. I think we took the escalators up past the chicken pen or the chicken
slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Pick your chicken, make sure it's fresh.
KFC was a big thing out there.
I think it still is, actually.
So at least the chicken's fresh.
Oh
no, they bring it in from the States.
Oh Jesus. But they had some interesting stuff going on there. So it's like that one night that they were doing the live casting, they ordered Domino's. They're like, hey, do you guys like pizza? Do you want Domino's? And we're like, sure. And they're like, what kind of pizza do you want? And we're like, just whatever. And they ordered like a variety of all kinds of different things. And they had the traditional cheese pizza or the pepperoni pizza and stuff. But then they had like a barbecue pork pizza, which was like this pork barbecue that was put on it and stuff. And it was really good. Then they had a Mexican pizza. And like, we know what a Mexican pizza is. It's, tostada with beans and, all that stuff and cut into wedges. Their Mexican pizza was like, they had like pinto beans on it, and then they had cheese and corn and a few other veggies on it and stuff. It was just like a weird version that wasn't Taco Bell, but you're like, well, I can kind of see this is Mexican pizza in a way. It's almost like they had pictures of something, and they're like, this is what you do. And they're like, okay, well, we're not familiar with all these ingredients that are on here, so we're just going to kind of guess at it.
Well, that's how it was in New Zealand when the first trip out there for, I think it was Tommyknock. We went to a Mexican a Mexican restaurant, and they've got pictures on the walls of all the different dishes, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm gonna get some enchiladas. That looks good. And the enchiladas show up, and it's got shaved carrots all over it. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. It's sweet. It's just strange. It's because they don't put food coloring or anything in their cheeses in New Zealand. So when the chefs of the restaurant first saw pictures of enchiladas or anything Mexican as we know it, the shredded cheddar cheese, they just automatically assumed was shredded carrots. So all of those dishes had shredded carrots in them or on them.
It's not the worst thing.
It was strange, though.
That's a strange flavor texture. Like you said, the sweet with the spicy and it's a carrot and crunchy. I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
It doesn't. That doesn't sound like it works for me.
No, it from what I recall, it didn't work for me either. It was disappointing. And I remember getting back to the hotel one time and looking at through the phone book, and they had Pizza Hut. And I'm like, oh, finally, I'm gonna order something with a back home flavor to it. So I ordered a pepperoni and sausage pizza,
Koala.
and it showed up at the room, and he couldn't tell which was which, and I'm like, it didn't taste like pepperoni and sausage. And then they explained, well, that's because it's all of it's made with mutton. I'm like, oh,
You get mutton and Vegemite.
I had
What?
a sheep pizza.
What? That doesn't make any sense. Come on.
Well,
Come on, New Zealand. You can do better than that. So now, getting back to China, and you guys were there getting out of China and facing being held back. What was your plan if they wouldn't let you go?
Oh, we didn't have one that I recall, because at that point, obviously, production would have had to take care of us, and had we actually had to stay behind, that whole SARS thing lasted like 3 months or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have been really hard.
Well, we were in contact with the guys back here, the rest of the team. They took a vote while we were out there, and they said, like, all right, when you guys get back, you have to quarantine for 10 days
Yeah.
before you can come back in the shop. Brian had to quarantine for 10 days before he can go back into his own shop.
Did you stay contained for 10 days, or did you just go, I'm back home, just gonna do what I'm gonna do?
Well, I mean, you gotta understand too that when we were there, we were kind of hypersensitive to what was going on, so we were being extra clean, and we had surgical masks and stuff, and we wore things as needed for the most part. When we came back, we knew that we were going to be kind of going into a voluntary quarantine where it's just like, I'm gonna be at my house and Brian's gonna be at his house, and the entire time we were in contact with each other, like, hey, do you feel sick? Nope.
Right.
And it's like, do you feel sick? Nope. And it's like, all right, well,
I think somebody delivered groceries for at least for me too, because I was living alone at the time. Yeah, there was like no contact person to person for that time.
yeah, I think like I want to say we did 5 days of just not coming into contact with anybody.
Yeah.
But then by the 5th day, we're just sitting there going like, neither one of us is sick. Neither one of us feels symptoms of any kind of sickness coming on or anything like that. If we were infected in any way, shape, and form, we would have felt it within 3 days. And so we're just kind of like, fuck it, I'm going to the grocery store.
Yeah, and I don't recall how long it was before we actually did end up going back to the shop.
I think we did at least 8 days. I remember it was a little over a week.
Yeah, it was to a point where our presence was needed back in the workshop, and yet the international hysteria for the whole SARS thing had exploded at that point.
Now, were you guys working on something at the shop at the time?
Yeah, we were doing the build for the show.
Besides the build for the show, is there anything else going on?
I'm sure there was, because we always had like multiple things going on, whether there was a commercial happening or another small bits for other movies or TV.
You know what?
shows.
We might have been working on The Man Who Wasn't There right around that time too.
No, because Man Who Wasn't There was right as we were starting Jeepers 2. So Jiangxi came after we had finished Jeepers 2.
So who was going into the shop while you guys were in China? Was it Roy and...
Oh, the whole crew, the big crew. So that we had
there was like Roy, Elvis, Sonny,
Greg
Greg,
Smith,
Rich,
Roger.
Yeah, Roger was holding down the office.
Yeah. Carol Jones.
Jones. Was Dave Fidel there too?
Dave might have been.
Because him and
was
Carol
Redlifson
were like
there too?
What's that?
Was Rich Redlifson there?
Redlifson was there too, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that were there.
What ended up happening with the show?
Oh, well, the SARS epidemic killed it. Yeah, we kept doing the build, and then they stopped paying, and so I mean, we had built the suits. Yeah, at that point, we had come to design approvals on the prosthetics and the look of the zombie suits and all that. So all that stuff was being made. We made the molds. Yeah, we
there were some foam runs done too. Because I remember there were zombie faces floating
I
around.
think we ran like 5 suits.
Yeah,
and
then all the prop gags, all the mechanics that Elvis was working on.
Yeah,
all that stuff. It was like the show was pretty much The show is pretty much on schedule as
Yeah, we
far
weren't
as
weren't
everything that we're going to do on it, and just ready to ship it out at a certain point.
yeah, we weren't waiting for SARS to go away or whatever. We just kept plugging along. But then once they stopped making payments, we stopped working on everything, and we had already shipped some stuff to China as well to
Yeah.
get ahead of the game, and obviously never got that stuff back. And it's a shame because the zombie horse from Jeepers Creepers was one of the things we
Oh
sent
my
over,
God.
and that was, you know, probably turned up as lost unclaimed freight because of the whole Jiangxi, the whole SARS. That was a shame.
Yeah, I just remember we had there was what 4 or 5 wooden crates, big wooden crates we had a carpenter come over and make,
Yeah.
and that stuff all got loaded up, and it's like,
And you had made all the pods and cocoons
oh
and
my God.
everything. And Eric De La Vega on that with us?
He might have been. I mean, it was pretty much everyone that was on Jeepers 2
Yeah.
was pretty much on this. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff. All those pods, which were like giant eggs that a 6-foot human being can crouch into, type thing. They were supposed to be for the story of how they found these zombie things or whatever. They're in these big eggs, stone eggs. But we had to make all that stuff and ship it.
Was there any resolution? Did they ever get back to you after everything settled down and say, "Oh, we're going to continue," or did it just go away?
Well, Rob would know something more because once the money dried up, my, of course, interest in the project dried up. You know, it all became about getting another project in to keep everybody busy. My recollection is that production went belly up. I don't know that the company itself went belly up, but production just went belly up because it destroyed the economy in China.
Yeah, they had a lot of problems going on there, but I won't be surprised if, I mean, because Michelle Yeoh's company still exists,
Yeah,
so I don't think
she
it
was
messed her
involved
thing up.
with that company or whatever, but I don't know that it was it her company?
It was her company. It was her production company.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember asking, I was like, "Wait, is like Michelle Yeoh involved with it?" And they're like, "No, this is her company." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of cool." But I think if anything, that whatever money that they had as far as investors went to that project, they probably just found it cheaper to just cut it away right then and there and consider it a tax loss or something where they can write it off,
Right.
because it was so pre-production that they maybe spent at best 10% of their budget, because they weren't rolling cameras. All they had was probably actors cast. They didn't film anything on it.
Right.
So
Right. They hadn't started building sets
yeah, so it's like the
anything.
only thing they did was they spent money overseas with us building stuff, and that was it. So whatever, they probably spent maybe like $50,000 to $60,000 more than what they paid us for effects as their total budget that they lost. So then they went like, "Oh, well, we're gonna do something else. We're pivoting."
Yeah, a shame because it would have been
Interesting.
a cool experience. And
Yeah.
They definitely had a lot of interesting things they wanted to do with it. And I just remember like one of the things that they were talking about was that they wanted this movie to stand out in a different way and be bolder, because a lot of the stuff that was going on in all the different production companies was very similar. They had the similar effects to it. They had similar actors. They had similar storylines and all these different things. So they had this opportunity with this unique kind of a zombie thing going on there where they're like, we should put American special effects in here. Let's get some American guys in here to do their stuff so it can stand out. So
I do remember when we were there having the discussions with one of the top exec who, and I keep wanting to remember that one of his kids had drawn the zombie characters, and he wanted us to stick to the concept, and to me it looked like a child had drawn it. And I was like, seriously? Again, that's 30 years ago.
yeah, I mean, I remember seeing some of those pictures and I was just kind of like, oh, these are kind of unrealistic proportions. Like,
Yeah.
you need people on stilts and all kinds of things,
Yeah, and having those conversations, like, well, if you're gonna put a guy in a suit to make this work the way you want it to work, then he's gonna have to be hung from wires, and it's not gonna be his head. It's gonna be a puppet head above the torso, so he'll be looking out the chest of the monster or whatever. And how are you gonna do your realist kung fu fighting?
Oh, you guys
that way?
you didn't like my solution to it early on, I remember.
What was that?
What, just making life-size marionettes?
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. It was like, well, these, and I'm sure we talked about rod puppets and all of that to stay true to the design that they were wanting us to stick to. But
Now, did you make anything and get anyone into a suit to test out the feasibility of their design?
no, the suits that we actually made, we made off of a very slender guy. I want to say it was Johnny Fetz.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, and Johnny is like one of the heirs to the Fetzer winery thing, but he was friends of one of the crew members, and we're like, hey, he's tall and he's super skinny, he'd be perfect. So
Yeah, no, just one of those things where like, well, we'll make the suit now. You find somebody that can fit the suit.
yeah, that was definitely how it would have had to have worked. And yeah, would they be able to find somebody to fit the suit that would have martial arts experience and would be that tall, lanky looking guy, or would they be super muscular? Because yeah, they sent us some photos of the stunt guys that they were hiring, and they were these short, stocky, muscular athletes, and I'm like, okay, how are we gonna fit that guy into our skinny suits? Yeah, it was strange. It was a strange.
But it never got to the point.
Yeah.
There was never a test fit
Yeah,
before everything shut down.
yeah. It
No,
was-
whatever would have happened would have been a situation where it's like, you know, everyone knows that these suits aren't going to fit perfectly on whoever they get, but you know, there's the backup plans of being able to adjust them and shorten them or lengthen them or do whatever needs to happen to them to make them fit as best as we can.
Yeah, it would have been very interesting to see how it would have all turned out.
Hey, at least you got to go to Hong Kong.
Yeah, and experience some life-threatening moments, whether it be in a taxi or with the flu bug that was going around.
Yeah, that was memories. Adventures. Yeah, I think after that is when you start getting those patches for the GI Joe Adventure Team patches.
Oh right, yeah, because every trip was an adventure. Yeah.